Hello and welcome to On the Radar, the show where we look at new and shiny animation on the horizon that we can all look forward to seeing in the future. I am your host, Litho.
Would you say hello and welcome?
Possibly.
Hello and welcome. This is Lightning. Das ist Lightning. Robert.
Let's try not to be too racial insensitive or nationalistic.
And I'm Mytho,
There we go.
a man that can do an incredibly deep voice, but not really.
Yeah, okay. So, this time on the Radar, we will be looking at 4 separate things that are coming out hopefully soon, but it might take ages. So, number 1 on the list, I will let Mytho take the reins for.
Aha, yes. This is Yes Juliet by Cherry Studios, a fairly new animation studio on YouTube, run by what I thought was 2 people, but from their title card I see is probably 3 people. One of each
Race.
race, thank you. There's a Pegasi, a unicorn, and an earth pony. Anyway, it's an animatic for the song Check Yes Juliet, and it's very good. And I can't wait to see the full thing, because they seem to be doing a very good job, and they're new, and they're already very popular. They've got something like, okay, they've got 279 subscribers, but that's pretty popular for having never made an actual video, truthfully.
This is true, yeah.
Just have an animatic out, and that's it.
Hmm.
An animatic and,
And a big dream.
an animatic and
Yes.
like 3 updates, and one of those is a 200 subs update.
Hmm. See, if you have a dream, and you really want to follow that dream, then you just do it. And there's not really much more to it than that, and people will follow you if they like your stuff.
Yeah, that's how it works.
That was not really very romanticized at all. Okay.
If you have a dream, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll end up among the stars, dying of lack of
Possibly.
oxygen.
Yeah, possibly in a supernova, possibly in a black hole.
Why
It
does
can't
the
be
sun
good.
burn in space, Lightning?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, Mytho. Because the sun doesn't burn, it does not combust in the way that you think it does. It is actually a process of nuclear fusion.
Ah, the more you know.
Exactly.
And so, definitely keep on the watch for Check Yes Juliet, as it is a very good animatic, and it will sure to be
A very good animation. Back to you, Lightning.
Thanks, Mytho. The next thing we have on our list is the animation test, reference 6-28, panel 12, from Spectra Studios.
Nerd.
The Rainbow Factory, thank you. I'm just reading the title as it is, I didn't put it there. So this is an interesting little piece of animation that has Rainbow Dash basically just breathing with her eye twitching. But the quality of animation, I have to say, is absolutely incredible, so I can only imagine how good the finished piece will be.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, we
Yes.
saw the trailer they put out, which was, albeit unfortunately, kind of rushed because they were on a time limit and they wanted to get it out at a certain time. And they only have one animator, just like I'm one animator on some projects, and that's really impressive, as that's going to be the final product of what everything in their animation is going to look like, and it's going to be fantastic.
Well, they have more animators, but for the trailer, they only had one person animating to a very tight deadline. And I have to say, even though they only had one guy animating to a very tight deadline, it was still incredibly good. And I think it'll only be better with more animators and more time.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very good. They
Again,
did
something
good.
that I will keep on the radar.
Ah, you said the thing.
In the thing. The next piece is something that we are not going to split up to do. We're just going to do the next 2 together because sharing is caring. So the next piece
Belly
is...
Bros forever.
Exactly. Do you want to introduce the next piece, actually?
Sure. I'll introduce it in my announcer voice.
You do.
The next piece is Lullaby for a Princess, Update number 2 by Warpout.
This piece is, of course, an update by the lovely and talented Warpout, who is an amazing animator and is updating us on the progress of his large project, Lullaby for a Princess, which looks extremely good.
Yes. So, if the Rainbow Factory movie is the epitome of everything I want to see in vector animation, in Flash, then this is the epitome of everything that I want to see in a hand-drawn Flash animated thing. Because this, in the first update video, Warp Out released a very small preview of what was to come, and what was to come blew my mind. So
It was very stylistic. It didn't look like it was done in Flash.
yes, it looked like it was done
Painted. Like paintings.
painted. It looked incredible.
Looks like he just painted it like 8 million times and then put them in a flip book.
Yeah, it looked incredible. And because of that, it will definitely be something I will keep on the radar. You can see a reoccurring theme here. Okay, so, but yes, that I'm very intrigued to see how that comes, and I realise that he's taking his time over it, which is good, because I think rushing something like this, as he has said himself, is probably not the best thing to do.
Yeah, you
I
cannot
think
rush
quality
something like
over
this.
quantity, if that makes sense.
Like, that's like, you know, Children of the Night. People forgot about that, and it came back after a year of being like revised and redone. It was fantastic.
It reminds me of a line from Toy Story 2, where there's that creepy guy restoring Woody, and he says, "How long do you think it's going to take?" And he says, "You can't rush art."
Can't rush art.
Yes, in that slightly creepy voice that he does. And I believe, without the creepy voice, that is what Warp Out is saying, and that's what I agree with.
You can't rush art. But, yeah, and then you have things like Double Rainbow, which kept to a very tight 1-year deadline, and had a buttload of animators, though.
Yes, and it
And
had
there was-
issues.
There were issues.
Issues that we will address one day.
One day. Probably this summer.
Probably this summer. Coming this summer.
Coming this summer.
The best review you've ever seen. 100% show accurate animation. Oh wait, no, that's
100% show accurate reviews.
Can we do that? Please?
I,
We'll discuss this after we're done recording.
yeah. What you mean? Take the mick out of Double Rainbow? Yes, we can.
Well, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
because that's basically what we just did. Okay. So, moving on from Lullaby for a Princess, I think, we have Pra Whip Demo, which, in actual language, when you don't put a random title on things, is the Jan Animations trailer, I guess you would call it, for Pony Rock Anthem. That's the one. Now, obviously, Jan Animations animation is always incredible, so it should be interesting. I mean, I actually wanted to see this animation when it was announced, because it looked really cool with the club scene and everything. But it hasn't come out yet, and I'm looking forward to it wholeheartedly either way.
Yeah. It's not the most impressive thing ever. I mean, it's not the most original idea ever, I guess. But it does look cool, and I'd like to see it eventually. But he does have much more original stuff to do, like Button's Adventures, which I hope becomes a series, because it is awesome.
Yes, he has bigger fish to fry. But either way, when all is said and done, it will be something that I'm keeping on the radar. And with that, dear friends, it's time to end.
To
Because
end.
I'm driving Mytho round the bend. Oh, I was going to rhyme it and you... Yes, that's true. We're going from end to end, and I am indeed driving Mytho around the bend. So we will see you next time. Although it won't be on the radar, because we barely ever do this.
Yeah.
And we'll be keeping you on the radar.
Yes, okay. That's a sonar. Sonars make that noise, not radar.
Boo! See, there's like a little picture of our fans there. It's like, boo!
No, I just said that. Stop
Goes
it! I
around
just
the
said that.
sonar, and it goes, boo!
Yeah, but that's like this
What
is
a
on the radar,
What does
not
a
on the
radar
sonar.
look like? What does a radar sound make?
A radar doesn't make a sound; it just spins around in circles.
That sucks.
The only reason
Why
it's
isn't this
sonar
called
is
on the
because it's a
sonar?
sound- Well, because on the sonar would require us to be under the sea, because it uses sound waves to bounce off things in the water.
We
The
make
point
a lot of
is, it doesn't
sounds.
work.
Do you think if I just went like, oh, throughout the water, it would just like reverberate everywhere?
Yeah, it's like that one guy who was blind and he was like a bat, so he made like a screeching noise at things and he could hear.
Yeah, everyone thought he
Where
was so
things
cool
were.
until they tested his abilities, and it turns out he couldn't see that there was a 50-foot pit in front of him.
Yes, that's true.
That's
but I mean,
not
you
good.
wouldn't see that, would you? You don't normally screech down.
Yeah, and that was a problem. He thought he could go around without a cane. Boy, was he wrong. He would have died. Anyway,
It's true.
keeping it on the
Should we
radar.
end? Yes. Good night, everyone.